Giselle, right? Okay. So I'm Detective Noel. Okay. I have a couple of detectives here with me from Orlando. Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Good. So I have a search warrant to take your DNA.
This is the moment police finally confront Giselle Victoria Gonzalez. 2 years after her roommate vanished without a trace, she looks calm and cooperative. What she doesn't realize is the investigators already know the truth. Because back in 2022, while she was telling police her roommate had simply disappeared, CCTV cameras were quietly recording everything, every stop, every purchase, every lie. At the time, there was no body, no crime scene, and no arrest, so she walked free, moved on with her life, believing she had gotten away with murder. But now, sitting across from detectives, the story she's been repeating for years is about to collapse.
Giselle, I want to talk to you.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No tiene sentido, ¿verdad?
No.
It would almost seem like you're hiding something.
What happened to your hands?
We don't know much about either of the women involved in this tragic case, but we do know that Roomate Medina Pacheco and Giselle Victoria Gonzalez were both born in the Dominican Republic. In late 2022, Giselle lived in the Cadence Crossing apartment complex on Curry Ford Road in Orlando, Florida. Earlier that day, Roomate, or Rooney as she was known, traveled to the United States for a long-term visit. It's unclear if they were friends or just acquaintances from back home. Whatever the case, Rooney moved in with Giselle. They didn't spend much time in the apartment because they both worked, but the living situation was apparently tense and contentious. Rooney showed up to work her shift on December 24, 2022, like she always did. According to her boss, she was a rock-solid employee who rarely missed a day. She was scheduled to work on Christmas Day as well, but she never showed up for that shift or for her other scheduled shifts that week. This was a red flag because she was such a diligent employee. Rooney also kept in touch with her family back in the Dominican Republic on a daily basis. Staying in contact was even more important that December because she was going to be with them over the holidays. Rooney's mother called around 9 p.m. on December the 25th to wish her a Merry Christmas. But to her surprise, another woman answered the phone. Whoever it was told her that Rooney wasn't there in a gruff and altogether unpleasant voice, and the rude woman hung up abruptly before she could ask where her daughter was. We'll never know exactly what transpired between the two women in the apartment they shared earlier that day, but on December 27th, 39-year-old Giselle Victoria Gonzalez contacted the Orlando police to report that she had not seen her 42-year-old roommate Rooney for 2 days. Shortly thereafter, officers went to the apartment to see if Giselle could shed any light on the disappearance.
Hello, Opie.
The officers didn't stay long, but Giselle told them that she heard Rooney talking to someone on the phone Christmas morning, but that she was gone later when she knocked on her door to check on her. Surprisingly, she admitted that she had gotten into a serious argument the week before when Rooney accused her of stealing $3,000 from her bedroom. Investigators contacted Rooney's family in the Dominican Republic to see if they could talk to her, if they knew where she was, or had any idea what might have happened to her. But they were just as baffled as the investigators, and they were all worried sick because it wasn't like her to fall off the radar, especially during the holiday season. Rooney's husband said that he knew something was wrong when she failed to show up for a video chat they had scheduled for 11:45 on Christmas morning. Another relative said Rooney was upset the last time that she had talked to them because she knew Giselle had stolen the missing $3,000 from her bedroom. With a suspicious missing person on their hands, investigators from the Orlando Police Department returned to the apartment the following week, and this time they couldn't help but notice that the story had changed. They had no idea where Rooney was, but Customs and Immigration records showed that she hadn't used her passport to leave the country. Next, investigators used GPS data from her cell phone to track her movements. Interestingly, they got an exact match when they compared the data from Rooney's phone with the data from Giselle's phone on Christmas Day. And that was just the tip of the iceberg, because investigators eventually made a number of equally suspicious discoveries. First, they found a security camera footage which showed Giselle buying a chainsaw at a home improvement store just up the road from their apartment, the one that she shared with Rooney. And later that evening, a camera at Walmart a few blocks away captured her buying heavy-duty trash bags, rubber gloves, and dish soap. The purchases did not prove that Ezel had anything to do with Rooney's disappearance, but along with the discrepancies in her story, there was more than enough to cast serious doubt about her version of events. Detective Patrick Kavanaugh made an unannounced visit to Giselle's workplace on Monday, January the 8th of 2023, less than 2 weeks after she called the police to report Rooney missing.
Have you heard anything? No.
I think you're coming with good news.
No, I was hoping so too. So, what time do you get home from work today?
Huh?
What time do you get done today? ¿A qué hora sale el trabajo hoy?
Ya casi.
Ya, ¿cómo que hora?
Ya voy a salir casi ya. Ya a las 5, 10 minutos.
Oh, okay. She said like 10 minutes. We'll wait for your son.
Okay.
Yeah, is that okay? Okay. All right. Cool. This is my partner, Elvin. Hola, Detective González. ¿Cómo estás?
Giselle.
Giselle. So we got some new stuff. So I was wondering, would you come back to the station? Tenemos información nueva. En el caso, o sea, quiero saber si te puede venir para atrás, para la estación.
¿Para la estación? Sí.
Sí, habla con nosotros.
¿A qué hora? What time?
No, ahora sí puede.
No.
Si tiene tiempo.
After a brief conversation in the parking lot, she accompanied him to the police station. Almost immediately, Detective Kavanaugh confronted her with the damning GPS data and asked her about the security camera footage at the 2 stores she visited on Christmas Day.
Is that okay? All right. So we just want to go over some new things that have come out, and we're trying to figure this out. We're trying to find her still, you know. Maybe you can help us out with some of the stuff that we found. So, okay. So we looked at Rooney's phone locations, right?
Chequeamos todas las locaciones del teléfono de ella.
And if I had a, it looks almost like, well, let me put it this way. On the 26th, the phone shows at a place, okay, at about 6 o'clock in the morning, right? And it's a store, and so we went to that store and we have some video from there. What do you think we saw in that video?
¿Entendiste que él dijo?
Que fueron al store, a una tienda.
Salí.
Que yo fui. O que ella fue.
She said, I don't know, that she was there, or that Rooney was there, or they were there.
Well, I mean...
Actually, I said, what do you think the video is going to show? And that's what she just said. She said, I don't know, I was there, or Rooney was there, or we were both there.
Is it both? Were you with Rooney there?
I don't know. Dígame usted.
¿Estaba con Rooney ese día o no?
No.
No.
¿No estaba con ella?
No.
¿No?
But would it show you there?
¿Ah?
¿Tú crees que el video va a enseñar que tú estabas ahí?
Posiblemente. Sí, yo fui a una tienda en la mañana.
Okay. She said she did go to a store in the morning. ¿A qué hora fuiste?
Faced with nearly undisputable evidence, Ezel admitted to buying what she referred to as a motorized machine to cut trees, in other words, a chainsaw. She admitted going to Walmart too, but she claimed she didn't actually buy anything there.
Did she go to Walmart on the 26th?
Fuiste a Walmart el día 26.
Sí.
For what?
Okay.
¿A qué hora? Sí, antes de entrar a trabajar creo que sí fui a Walmart.
She said she thinks she went before she went to work on that Monday.
For what? What did she buy?
¿Y qué compraste en Walmart?
No llegué a comprar nada, creo.
She said she didn't think she bought anything.
She didn't buy. So why did you go? What did you go for?
¿Qué iba a comprar? Okay. She said she went to Walmart trying to get the same thing she bought at Lowe's, the machine she bought
¿Cuál es
at
más
Lowe's.
barato?
But she bought it at Lowe's. Why would she go to Walmart to try and buy the thing that she just bought at Lowe's?
Well, she doesn't remember if she went to Walmart first or Lowe's first.
Okay. So she's saying she didn't buy. Did you buy?
She said she didn't buy anything at Walmart.
Okay.
After showing her the footage that proved otherwise, Detective Kavanaugh circled back to Rooney's cell phone.
But you did buy something. See?
Ah, sí.
Do you remember now?
No, ahora sí me recuerdo.
Do you remember?
Ahora
help you.
sí,
Yeah,
pero
yeah.
es
Tell
que
me.
hace mucho.
That's okay. What'd you buy?
¿Qué compraste?
No sé, seguro
¿No te
algo de ahí del trabajo, no sé, plátano, qué
She
sé
said she
yo.
didn't remember what she bought. She said maybe
Ese 2
plantains.
meses y algo.
Okay. All right. Well, let me ask you this question, okay? Because obviously now something's a little off, right? I want to go back to this phone thing because I think we're missing something. You would agree, right? If Rooney's phone is in one place and here you are, and she's not there, what does that mean?
I don't know.
¿Entiendes lo que
What do
dice?
you think it means?
¿Ella tiene llave para su carro?
No.
Okay. So she's saying maybe she left it in her car because she always leaves her car unlocked. So I asked her, does Rooney have keys to her car? She said, no,
Always
she
mi
always
carro
leaves
está
it unlocked. I said, but to drive it, do you need keys? She said, yeah. But Rooney doesn't have a key to drive it.
So let's be real. You had her phone that night. Somebody answered it at the house. That's how somebody answered it. Was it you, or who was it that answered the phone? Somebody did.
I don't know.
You know that, though. You know what I'm saying. Listen, it's okay. Who was it? We just need to know who answered.
I don't know.
Okay. You had the phone the whole night, though, right?
In my...
Go ahead. And it was in your purse. Okay. How did it wind up in your purse?
She put in la cartera.
She put it in there?
Next, he asked Isel about the missing $3,000 and how Rooney's phone ended up in her possession.
She comes over there to talk to you. Rooney comes over to talk to you about this money, right? And she's upset about this money. She comes to your house to talk about the money. And she doesn't talk about the money with you. She just leaves.
We don't talk.
Right. So the whole point of her coming over there is to talk to you about the money, but that didn't happen.
We
Right.
don't talk.
And then you thought but see, you told me the phone might be in the car, but the whole time you knew it was in your purse.
In the purse.
Right. So you didn't, you don't understand what I'm saying? Like, so now you're saying she put it in there? That just doesn't make any sense. She put it in your, what else did she put it in your purse and then she left? Does that make a lot of sense to you? That doesn't make any sense. No.
Okay, so she's saying when she woke up on the 25th, Rooney wasn't there, but the phone was, and it was on the table. And so she physically put it in her purse.
Why would Rooney think that you took her money?
I don't know. ¿Quién la va a abrir?
See? She said she doesn't believe that there was any money. She said if we listen to the conversation she had with her on Saturday, they weren't arguing, and they were talking calmly to each other. Rooney was telling her that she was depressed, hadn't eaten in 2 days. And she said that the box was already sealed, and the company sealed it when they got there too. She's like, there's...
Detective Kavanaugh eventually left the interrogation room, and moments later he was replaced by a female detective who immediately asked Isel what she did with the money she stole from Rooney.
So what happened with that money? Did you spend it on electric bill? Is there any way to recover any of that money? And if not, it's okay, but I just need to know so we know you're telling the truth about it. Does that make sense?
Entendí la mayor parte.
¿Entiendes?
So talk
Porque
to
eso
me.
es insignificante. Vuelta o lo que
Sí.
pasó. ¿Ah?
Pretendía pagar de vuelta.
Pretendía pagar de vuelta. She did pretend to pay it back.
At one point, the translator told the detective that Rooney said she did pretend to pay it back, but she may have misspoken. Instead, he may have meant to say that she intended to pay it back. If so, she must have confessed to taking the money in a portion of the interrogation which was redacted.
All right, so talk to me. What happened? Tell me about the day, so that way I could clear it up for you, and then we could go forward from here.
Tenía que pagar renta.
I had to pay rent.
And that's understandable. I get it. It's a
Ella
lot.
entiende completamente.
Didn't they just raise the rates in Orlando? Like, it's crazy right now. What happened to your hands?
Me quemé
She burned it.
When?
Cuando?
en el trabajo.
Whatever the case, Isel admitted to taking Rooney's phone as well. However, she told the detective that she threw it in a dumpster because she kept getting threatening calls from Rooney's daughter. But shortly thereafter, she came clean and admitted that she didn't dispose of the phone after all. In fact, she had sent it to the Dominican Republic along with other items in a care package.
What was the conversation? Walk me
Ya yo
through.
le
You
dije
wake up.
ya.
She told me.
Because you're being honest now, right?
Ya yo
Are
te
we-
dije, yo no voy a repetir lo mismo.
She's not gonna repeat it.
Okay, so tell me what happened. So you can understand,
dije.
right?
Rooney was apparently approached her at the door. She would not open her bedroom door. And
You
Rooney,
wouldn't open the door, right?
Right. And
Okay.
Rooney-
What time was this?
around 11 o'clock.
Okay.
And Rooney kept questioning her about her money and the fact that she wanted her money, and she told her she would get her the money, but
Okay.
that she didn't want to talk about it.
Okay.
And then after that, according to her, sometime after that, Rooney just left the house. That's why she was saying upset.
Okay. On the flip side, Rooney's over here.
ella trató de
Let me in. I want to talk to you about this money. Right?
Esa puerta con un poquito de fuerza se abre.
She has her phone on her. She's not just gonna leave, put her phone down, walk out.
Okay, me pregunta, ¿ella me va a poner una máquina o ella va a estar...
If you're gonna put her in the machine, or what you're gonna keep doing.
I'm just, this doesn't make sense to
Hazme
me.
la pregunta ya.
I don't have to
Ella
put you on a
ella
machine
sabe
to
más
tell
que
you
yo.
that this
Que
isn't
me
the
haga la
honest
pregunta, me tengo que
truth.
hacer ya, porque Repetí lo mismo, ya viene y repite lo
Giselle.
mismo, repite lo mismo, repite lo mismo.
I could repeat. We're having you repeat this over and over again because you haven't been truthful from us from the very get-go.
Eso me estresa que me estén repitiendo la misma
It's
cosa.
stressful because you've been lying.
Desde el principio.
By then, investigators had systematically dismantled most of Izel's unbelievable story. Even so, they still didn't have enough to arrest her or charge her with any crime. But as the investigation continued, the circumstantial evidence against Izel continued piling up. After Izel was released, investigators discovered that she made a number of odd internet searches before she reported Rooney missing. She searched these phrases on December 25, 2022, between 9 a.m. and 11:30 p.m. Which side of the body is the aorta on? Home Depot and Walmart. Hours for Home Depot. Prices for an electric saw. And the next day, she did this suspicious internet search at 1:40 p.m. What do they do with trash in Orlando? Officers, investigators, and forensic technicians executed a search warrant on Izel's apartment on Wednesday, February the 15th of 2023.
Si hay una orden.
Orlando Police! Anyone in the apartment? Orlando Police! Anyone in the apartment? Orlando Police! Is anyone in the apartment?
¿Qué es lo que pasa? Yo no entiendo.
And what they found was far worse than the internet searches, the chainsaw purchase, and Izel's constantly changing story. Chemical reaction tests proved that someone had recently cleaned copious amounts of blood from the walls, doors, baseboards, and ceiling in the living room. Much of the blood had pooled on the floor, but forensic technicians also found telltale cast-off patterns which typically result from attacks in which the aggressors repeatedly strike their victims with weapons like hammers, bats, and knives. DNA test ultimately proved that the blood was from Rooney. Something unbelievably horrific took place in that apartment that day. Nonetheless, authorities still did not have enough to make an arrest because, without a body, they could not prove that Rooney was dead or that Izel had anything to do with her disappearance. Izel finally got on with her life and eventually moved out of state, but back in Florida, local, state, and federal investigators were collecting additional evidence and putting together a relatively airtight case. Even so, the wheels of justice turn agonizingly slowly at times. As the years passed, Rooney's heartbroken family grudgingly admitted that her body may never be found and that nobody would be prosecuted in the case. Even so, the wheels of justice turn agonizingly slowly at times. As the years passed, Rooney's heartbroken family grudgingly admitted that her body may never be found and that nobody would be prosecuted for her death and that they would never get any closure. That said, everything changed on November 6, 2024, when officers stopped 42-year-old Izel Victoria Gonzalez in Hartford, Connecticut, nearly 1,200 miles or 1,930 kilometers north of Orlando, where her roommate, Roonalady Rooney Medina Pacheco, disappeared under mysterious circumstances on Christmas Day 2 years earlier.
Hi, ma'am. Is it Giselle, right? Okay. From Detective Newell. Okay. I have a couple of detectives here with me from Orlando. So I have a search warrant to take your DNA.
Okay.
Okay, but we have to do it at the police department.
Okay, I have to go now?
Yes.
Hey. Yes. We have to go now?
Yes, we have to go now, yes. Hila.
I go with you.
You can drive us, but you gotta follow us and stay with us, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna pull in front of you. Detective Thomas is gonna stay behind you and we'll all go together, okay? But just do me a favor and make sure you follow us, okay? Okay, all right. And when we get to the police department, we're gonna explain everything to you, okay? All right, do you wanna?
Back at the police station, investigators took a DNA sample and began grilling Izel about the disappearance.
You told a couple people you had a fight, right? We talked to some neighbors upstairs. We got a lot of stuff to indicate there was a fight there. You guys had a fight. That's okay. You can have a fight with somebody.
Yeah, everybody fights.
Sure. So who hit? So like, who put hands on who first? Did she get at you first? Did she come at you?
Yes.
Okay. What did she do to you? She hit you?
Galleta, una galleta. Ya, no sé más.
Okay, so she's saying, yeah, they fought, and then after the fight, she left, and she left her phone in the apartment. Okay, so she's saying that they They were punching each other, hitting each other. I asked her, did anybody pick up anything? She said that Rooney hit her with a purse. She was swinging her purse, and it was very heavy. I said, well, did you pick up anything? She said, no, I didn't pick up anything. So actually I said, what stopped the fight? She's like, she doesn't remember. She was like, we just stopped. I was like, well, what happened? Did she go to her room? Where did she go after the fight finished? Did she leave right away? She said, no. She was like, I went to my room, and then I said, well, where did she stay at? She was like, she stayed in the living room. She's like, I think she went to her room and maybe the bathroom. And then she left, and she left the phone in the house.
Early on, the lead detective told Ezel that he knew she had a security camera in her apartment that day.
Tell me about the cameras that you had in your apartment at the time that happened. Where did they go after that? You had cameras in the apartment.
Yeah,
and they weren't just in your bedroom, they were in the living room.
In my bedroom.
And you had one in the living room.
No, I sent to my sister.
So you have those cameras there, right? And you sent them to the DR?
Sí, my sister. Not my sister, to my mom. In the box.
Same box with the chainsaw?
¿There?
Same box with the chainsaw?
La misma caja con el cortador que compraste.
No, porque el otro era para allá, para la casa, para la otra casa.
¿Qué otra casa?
Donde mi abuela vivía.
De tu tío. And she said, no, that was in a different box. So that was
to grandma's house?
Yeah, to the grandma's house.
Okay.
So she's trying to say the cameras weren't working. And I'm asking, I said, the cameras are working very well. I said, because it recorded before and it recorded after. I said, it even recorded the day you shipped the cameras out.
Yeah.
I said, you were on the couch on the 27th.
Yeah.
I said, so, A, why wouldn't you have told us about the cameras and you just shipped them out? I said, and why is the day of the fight the only day missing on the cameras? And she's like, oh, she kept kind of say that the cameras weren't working right. I was like, no, they're working very good. Just shipped them out. I said, and why is the day of the fight the only day missing on the cameras? And she's like, oh, she kind of say that the cameras weren't working right. I was like, no, they're working very good. It has a lot of recording on it.
I'll show her.
I said, but it doesn't have that day. She's like, well, it has a memory card, right? I was like, yeah, it does. I said, and it recorded before and after.
Right.
De cuando empezamos la investigación hasta ahora.
Truth doesn't change.
La verdad no cambia.
But when you tell things that aren't true, you have to remember what you said.
Pero cuando empiezo a hablar mentira,
Let me
tienes
ask
que
you this
acordarte de la mentira.
Sure, you didn't tell us about the phone. What you told us when we sat and talked to you and you raised your hand and swore to tell the truth wasn't true. Okay? However, you also told one of the chefs from Made in Puerto Rico, in a text message, to call her phone. And that's a couple days after. So you knew you had her phone then. You knew you had her phone. See, the thing is, you knew you had her phone that night on Christmas Day because you answered it, remember? We already discussed this, didn't we? About 9 o'clock at night, when her mom called, you answered her phone. You remember telling us that?
Next, investigators confronted her with the blood residue and splatter patterns found all over the old apartment in Orlando.
Have you ever heard that blood doesn't go away? Like, no matter how much you clean it or what to the naked eye, it's going to looks like it disappears. Like, but it doesn't disappear. She's like, yeah, well, to the naked eye, yeah, it looks like it'll disappear. ¿Quién te ayudó a limpiar?
Nadie.
¿Tú limpiaste toda esa sangre sola?
Sí.
So I asked her who up to clean. She said, nobody. I said, so you cleaned all that blood by yourself? She said, yeah. So I said, oh, this is blood. I said, this is against the wall. So I said, you had to physically move that to clean that. She's like, oh, yeah, we were fighting everywhere. I was like, yeah, but I said, this is only what was left after cleaning. I said, so do you don't think that's a lot of blood for somebody? That's a serious injury? She was like, yeah, serious cut.
You don't forget a fight like this.
So that's what I was telling her. I was like, I said, all this blood is not something you forget about.
No.
I said, you said you weren't bleeding a lot. You said she wasn't bleeding a lot. I said, but all this blood, you're going to remember where that blood came from. I said, if you cleaned up all this blood, you're going to specifically remember that blood. I said, you want to forget. I was like, but you didn't forget. You know. We're fighting everywhere. I was like, yeah. I was like, me and you can go blow for blow right now. And I can give you the hardest punch in the world, and your blood's not going to fly up to the ceiling. I said, that's not a normal place for blood to go flying.
Pues hazme la prueba a ver cuál de las dos es. O sea,
ya sabemos de quién es la sangre. Es de Rooney.
Yeah.
After that, they asked her about the chainsaw and the internet searches that she did on December 25th and 26th.
I talked to her mother, where the boxes went to, and two of her uncles, and nobody got a chainsaw. There was no chainsaws in that box. She's not allowed to send chainsaws in that box. We checked with the shipping company.
Tu hermana y dos tíos tuyos. Y hablamos con la compañía y
no, porque yo no digo, no se dice que tú pones en la caja. Porque después te cobran impuestos.
What'd she say?
Because I told her, I said, the shipping company, they don't allow you shipping. She said, oh,
Yo
you don't
puse-
tell them what's in it, because then they'll charge you.
No, see, but they open them all in customs
Huh?
down there. And
Lo abren allá cuando llega.
we checked on that.
Sí, después te
Lo abren
cobran.
la caja.
Pero el generador tiene que estar allá.
No, tell her we checked on that.
No.
Remember? We talked to the lady. You were with me. Lady said they open all the boxes when they get to the DR for customs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was your fascination with with what happens to the trash in the United States of America and trash in Orlando? Like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere.
¿Por qué te importaba qué pasaba con
The same day they
la basura
decided to
Orlando?
be charitable to an uncle that you never even talked to and buy a chainsaw for.
Yo creo que fue en el trabajo que... No sé, quizás estábamos hablando algo.
She just said because maybe she
No
looked it up from work.
recuerdo.
Because why?
She maybe
No
looked it up because of
recuerdo.
work.
What does that
Quizás
have to
no
do with
recuerdo. Ahí donde yo trabajaba, no sé.
At the end of the interrogation, the investigators arrested Isel and charged her with 1 count of second-degree murder, 1 count of tampering with evidence, and 1 count of grand theft. Isel pleaded not guilty. As of mid-November 2025, she has yet to have her day in court, and unfortunately, authorities have never found Rooney's remains. We would like to express our sincere condolences to the victim's family.